Well, good evening, Tallahassee, and welcome to FSU weather. It's Friday, and we're going to take a look at Doak first. We've got some puffy cumulus clouds out there starting to make their way out for the day, but 85 degrees. Winds very light right now. Great night to get outside. Of course, I'm always going to remind you to take this and watch it in the great outdoors. Current temperatures around the rest of the area, 80s for the most part. We've got a little bit cooler down near the coast here in Apalachicola, but in terms of the radar, nothing you got to worry about in the way of rain, nothing that's going to stick here. It's a great night to get outdoors. Quick look at the tropics. Not much to talk about here, but we do see a little bit of a tropical wave that's coming off the coast of Africa. Could develop into something. Of course, it's too early to tell, but we'll keep you updated as we get closer. In tonight's forecast, it's layering weather down into the 50s right here, partly cloudy. Definitely bring those layers if you plan on going anywhere outdoors here. I know a lot of people down here are not used to the cold. It's going to continue to get there. Not yet, but it's on the way. Tracking the tropics tonight, as well as, again, that cold front that's going to be making its way down here. And as always, on Friday's Theme Park of the Week and Fierce Forces Friday. All this and more on FSU Weather.
Good evening, Tallahassee, and welcome to your Friday night edition of FSU Weather. I'm student meteorologist Chris Malve.
And I'm Ainsley Goebel.
And honestly, I feel like on tonight's show, well, first off, I'm on my own show again, so that's pretty wild. But I feel like a little bit of everything on tonight's show. We got some tropics action, we got severe weather. I mean, the cold front pushing through, so a little bit of a cool down. Like, I feel like we literally have everything on tonight's show.
Just a little bit of everything. Like, not a lot of one thing, but a little bit of everything is what we've got. Well-rounded show tonight, for sure.
Yeah. Honestly, like you said, I think it's, we got a pretty good spread of everything. It's not too much of one thing. In a way, it's almost like a jack-of-all-trades kind of situation.
Yeah, for sure. It's what we need after a long week. I mean, we haven't had any tests, but it's felt like a really long week. I don't know what it is, but it's been there.
Yeah, and this weekend I'm actually heading to Halloween Horror Nights. I'm super excited. It's my first time ever going, so I've been looking forward to that, but, still got like about a 4-hour drive after this, so, and, I had to take an online midterm this week, so, no synoptic exams, no dynamics to worry about, but still, kind of feel like we've had a lot on the plate recently.
Yeah, that, and then also just like no football game to really look forward to there either. So, it's been a long week, and we're waiting for next week. Maybe it'll be a little better.
Yeah, and kind of bouncing off that, now we're going to head over to the local, and really all around Tallahassee, we're seeing those temperatures kind of in the 80s all around the region, seeing some of those pumpkin spice, orange and yellow colors to kind of go around. Staying pretty mild here in Tallahassee, 85 degrees, a little bit cooler as you go into South Georgia, 82 in Thomasville, as well as 81 in Valdosta. So pretty nice conditions to go around. For your almanac, we've stayed pretty close to the average, just slightly above, and spot on for that low temperature. Thankfully, nowhere near that record low of about 33 degrees. On our radar, nothing to worry about right now, just some ground clutter right behind me, but no showers and storms to worry about at the moment. That changes this weekend, though, as we do have a cold front moving through the area. We see those clouds start to roll in, and by noon at Sunday, look at all these showers and storms just paralleling Leon County, even Gadsden County right here over near Quincy. But look what happens as we get to the latter part of the day. Those showers and storms really begin to fizzle off. Still might want to keep that umbrella on hand, but not too bad to go around. Could definitely use some of that rain with those drought conditions, but we'll get some cooler weather on the way. Even tonight, it can be in those 50s and 60s for the most part. Down towards the coast, still in those low 70s for the most part. But now as we look towards tonight's forecast here in Tallahassee, a very pleasant night in store, 58 degrees, some very calm winds. So it should be a pretty nice night if you have maybe those evening plans, if you're going out tonight. But tomorrow afternoon, it kind of looks a lot like today, with those mild temperatures, 82 degrees in Perry, 83 in Madison. So another nice, it's not exactly like a fall day, still waiting for that cool down, but thankfully we're going to get it once we get to Sunday. And speaking of those rain chances with that cold front, they really spike up by Sunday. We could be seeing about a 70% chance of rain, but that really begins to die down by the work week. And getting into that 7-day forecast, we have those showers and storms that are going to bring a little bit of much needed rain to Tallahassee. Not a whole lot of rain based off the rain accumulation models that we'll talk a little bit more about on tonight's show. But look at this, gorgeous sunny skies, and check out those lows, 49 degrees by Friday, even 47 as well into Tuesday. So finally time to break out that fall wardrobe, which I'm definitely looking forward to. But now we're going to take a look at the rest of the state of Florida with Ainsley.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. So we're going to take a look at our cameras around here. A lot of those cumulus fields building in, especially this is a picture-perfect one up there in Tampa as well. Pretty clear skies, though, in the way of rain. Not much to worry about there. As you take a look at this, a lot of 80s here, 79 in Pensacola, 76 in Jacksonville. So anywhere from low 70s to lower 80s is pretty much where we're sitting. Taking a look at South Florida, really not much that we have to worry about in the way of rain. In terms of Central Florida, same thing here, just a couple of passing clouds you can see are a little more abundant up here, but those will be going away sooner once the sun goes down. Same story here in the Panhandle. We are in a pretty high and dry day, still under that high pressure system. Now this is where we could see just a little bit of action. We'll see that cold front start to push its way off. And then by the time Monday rolls around, it should mostly be out of our hair here. A couple of pop-ups alongside it a little bit after, but for the most part associated with Sunday and early part of Monday. Miami, if you find yourself there, we're going to be starting the week off on a pretty sunny note, but you could see those rain chances creep in by Monday there. Not a lot of fluctuation from day to night with the highs and lows, but as we take a look at Fort Myers, it's a little bit of a sunnier story, a little bit delayed for the rain chances though. It starts on Tuesday there, 66 there. Those are some pretty nice lows for how south you are. Tampa, a lot of sun here, 10% chance, little to no rain chances, just a little bit of clouds there on Monday and some pretty nice temperatures as well. A little warm, but still pretty expected for Tampa, especially this time of year. Orlando, lots of sun for you to see too. Monday, Tuesday, you could see a little bit of a rain chance, and we'll keep you updated as we get closer, but not too much here. 60s for the lows on some days, a little bit warmer, 71 there, rolling into Monday as well. Jacksonville, we've got a lot of sun here too as well. Little to no rain chances. Sunday was when we could see the most part associated with that cold front coming through. And then pretty low lows, 58 there. Again, once we hit the 50s, I'm going to call it layering weather. You don't have to, but I will. Chris is laughing at me over there. But, you know, Midwest in me says so. Pensacola, we start the weekend off on a more rainy note, and then on the back end we're rewarded with a little bit of sunshine there. 57, a little bit of cooler conditions coming after the cold front passes through here. That checks out. Tonight in Florida, we're going to cool down into the 50s in some places. The Villes, Gainesville, Jacksonville, see the 50s, 60s for the most part, and a little bit warmer up there in Pensacola as well. As we take a look at tomorrow, we are going to heat right back up into the 80s. Sun, still part of that high pressure system that we've been seeing here. But for much of the southeast, we've got a little bit of action coming along with this in that cold front, and Chris is going to give us a little more of an idea of what that might look like.
Yeah, that's right. So we do have that cold front that's going to be pushing through much of the southeast, but right now we're seeing some peaks of sunshine, still seeing those cumulus clouds out right now, and seeing pretty decent range of 80-degree temperatures, staying mild here in Tampa, but as you go down towards Birmingham, 89 degrees, almost just brushing up against 90 degrees. A little bit cooler though in Nashville, 81 there. Now looking around much of the southeast, we're seeing a couple spots staying quite unseasonably warm for this time of year. I mean, 90 degrees in Jackson. We're in the middle of October now. I think someone needs to check on Jackson with those warm, toasty temperatures, but definitely a different story going on there in Charlotte, staying in those low 70s, and I'm kind of jealous of them. I really wish I was there right now. On our radar, nothing really to be concerned about, just a couple of showers off in the Gulf, but nothing that's causing us any concerns right now. And unfortunately, because of that, we're still sitting under that high pressure. We're still seeing now extreme drought conditions, even here back at home in Tallahassee, and much of the same over in western Alabama. So hopefully we'll get some more rain on the way, and with this cold front over here that not only will bring all hazards on the table for severe weather, we're talking damaging winds, hail, even tornadoes. That's going to help us out with our drought right now. But as this continues to move off towards the east, again, we're going to keep an eye out for the risk of severe weather. But once this system gets over to Florida, even into Georgia, this low pressure system, or really the cold front, really begins to fall apart and weaken. So we might get a little bit less rain than some of our friends over to the west, but still much needed rain either way. Now, as far as those rain totals are concerned, some places like Tallahassee really not getting much, only about 1/4 of an inch, but Jackson could be getting anywhere about an inch of rain. So really the big story is that most of the southeast could be seeing anywhere from about 1/2 an inch of rain. So still going to help us out with that drought, but unfortunately nothing that's going to bust those drought conditions. Now, if you find yourself in Birmingham, Alabama, we're going to get a nice cool down heading into Monday morning, 44 degrees and 49 headed into your Tuesday. So definitely a nice cool down on the way. In Charlotte, again, we're going to see those rain chances stay pretty high going into Sunday as that front pushes through. But as a kind of a trade-off of that, we'll get those cooler like fall temperatures, which, I will definitely take that because I think we could use some more of it here, especially in Tallahassee. But in New Orleans, not as much of a cool down. Going to be somewhat cloudy this weekend. Going to be staying in those low 80s. Slightly cooler on Monday, but again, not as drastic as what we're seeing in other parts of the southeast. Nashville, much of the same, seeing those rain chances. Pretty big drop off, 42 degrees. Again, I'm very jealous of them. Tonight's forecast seeing those mild conditions, 50s, 60s, some spots still staying in 70, like Shreveport, New Orleans, 76. Guys, we need to lock in. But for tomorrow's forecast, going to look a lot like today, staying in those 80s around the region, just waiting for that cold front to push through. You can kind of see that temperature gradient over by Little Rock. So definitely looking forward to those cooler temperatures to arrive this weekend. But now, Ainsley, what are we seeing around the rest of the country?
Yeah, thanks, Chris. So we're going to be talking a lot about this cold front. Everybody's kind of in anticipation of it. Right here, you can see this area of high pressure that we are looking at 83 here in Tallahassee, partly cloudy, but we're waiting for that cold front to come through, give us more of those rainy conditions. Tonight, though, we do see some wintry weather advisories here. Eastern Colorado, western Nebraska is going to catch the brunt of that here, as well as some high wind watches up here north of Denver, north of Billings as well. That's that yellow tag right there. But as we take a look at the drought monitor, I've done this for most of the semester, and it keeps getting drier here in the southeast. Still dry out west. It has been the whole time, but we've just been accelerating the drought over here in the southeast. SPC Outlook Day 2. This is what we've got a lot to contend with here. So Arkansas completely encapsulated by this slight risk here. This is for tomorrow, and as that cold front starts to come through, it's going to line up around in here. We could see hail, wind, possibility of tornadoes. Can't rule that out to come through this area, so make sure to keep up with your alerts that you get in your local stations. As it shifts eastward, though, for day 3, we're going to see it make a little bit of a non-severe northward turn there, and it should mostly be out of our hair after that. So this is what it's going to kind of look like. We'll see that cold front. It's starting to develop there. Right over here is when it's going to peak, and then it's going to roll through, and it shouldn't affect us too much in Tallahassee in terms of severity, but hopefully still bringing much of the southeast those cooler and drier conditions as well. 72-hour rain, that's going to show you where the rain could kind of end up. I don't know if I agree with this because there's so much severity coming down in here. It's a little bit northward, but we'll see that kind of start to play out in the next couple of days as well. Temperature outlook, that's pretty regular from what we've been seeing. A lot of the central plains, central U.S., kind of extending into the Mississippi River Valley area has been very warm. That hasn't changed at all. But out east is when we've seen a little bit of that coolness start to creep its way in, as well as out west. It's been fluctuating, but relatively the same here. And tonight, we're going to see temperatures dip down some steep gradients in some places, 74 in New Orleans, but 58 in Tallahassee. That's just that they're close to the coast, we're not, but still cooler temperatures for the most part that we're seeing finally start to creep onto the Atlantic side of the coast here. Tomorrow we're going to heat right back up, and we're going to see a lot of sun here in Tallahassee, but what's catching my eye here is Dallas is going to be a little stormy. New Orleans is going to be a little stormy. That checks out with the cold front coming through tomorrow. Kind of delayed depending on where you're at here. But again, those cooler temperatures out west, shout out, oh, not Billings today. Seattle is actually our coolest place there. They're going to be getting a little bit more of that rain, cooled air coming through. So we've got a lot of that here, and as well as just more sun, good weather. Enjoy it while it lasts before that cold front comes through. But we're going to take it on over to Chris. He's going to tell us a little bit more about theme parks.
That's right, and this is actually my first time that I get to do my very own specialty segment, so I'm super excited, not only for that, because this is actually the first time I'm going to Halloween Horror Nights. I've been to Universal before, but that is our theme park of the week, but this is my first time going to Halloween Horror Nights. Now, for your theme park forecast, it's going to be 83 degrees tomorrow, so a pretty nice day at the parks, and it should be a great day to ride a Velocicoaster, which I'd argue is easily one of the best coasters in the state. Let me know in the comments, though, which one you think is better, Velocicoaster or Iron Gwazi. But headed over to our day planner, should be a pretty nice morning over in Orlando, 66 to start out your day. Be warming into the upper 70s, could be seeing those 80s throughout the day. So again, not too bad of a day at the park. It's not like a brutal summer day, so thankfully not as warm of temperatures over there. But on our radar, just seeing a couple passing clouds, which honestly I think might add to the spooky vibe of Halloween Horror Night, and thankfully won't really have to be worrying about any rain. Now, for the next 3 days, Saturday looks like probably the best day to go to the parks. We'll be seeing in the low 80s. Sunday looks a bit warmer. Again, just a few passing clouds. And Monday, again, kind of dropping down a bit. So maybe if you're lucky, you have like maybe an annual pass, or you can maybe go after work. Doesn't look like too bad of a day to go to the parks either. So looks like a pretty nice weekend in store to head over to Universal. I am super excited for Halloween Horror Nights. I think I'm looking forward to the FNAF attraction the most. But now we're going to kind of switch gears a bit, and we're going to talk about this week's Fierce Forces Friday, which is about debris flow. And Ainsley's going to tell us kind of a little bit more about the science behind it and how it works.
Yeah, so there's a lot to know here. It's a lot of words on this graphic here. We've got mudslides and mud flows. It's kind of going along with that debris flow. So what it is a mix of mud, rocks, trees, parts of homes. There could be other stuff gathered up in it as well. You never really know. It's unpredictable, can spread really quickly. It's just that runoff that kind of takes the path of least resistance somewhat. And it starts rapidly, and it can really come after a burst of heavy rain or in an area that is not ready for relatively heavy rain compared to what they normally get. This is what it kind of looks like. This is that debris flow illusion. Like I said, kind of taking that path of least resistance here and then pooling up in an area where you definitely don't want it to. A lot of times where you see houses or people with populations living there. And this is what it's going to kind of look like here. It's going to, you see a lot of it give way on the bottom, which gives way to more up top as it starts to kind of slide down and then just gather up, pulling a lot of that debris with it as well. This is a video of what it kind of looks like. So I'm going to give you a minute to kind of look at this. It starts off relatively okay, but it very quickly evolves into something that can become deadly if you are in the way of that here. So you can kind of see as it takes away chunks of the rocks here, that's what we see as part of what happens with these mudslides. And a lot of times with places out west, like in California, with those wildfires, you can see the soil becomes sort of hydrophobic because the wax on the plants starts to melt off when the wildfires hit. So this is when you could see situations like this becoming really bad. Mudslides, preparing for them, have an emergency kit, evacuation route, always stay in touch with what they are telling you, and also make sure to purchase flood insurance policy if you are in one of those high risk areas, and then also just make sure to document everything as always. Always want to be better safe than sorry in these kinds of situations here. But for now, we're going to end on a lighter note with the local close. Chris, tell us about that.
That's right, and thankfully we don't really have to worry about any flooding this weekend. Seeing some absolutely gorgeous skies over at our Sportsplex, even down in St. George Island, just beautiful blue skies to go around. Just a few clouds over our Lake Bradford cam as well as over in FSU's Panama City campus. Over at our airport, because we have all that high pressure, no delays at our airport, which is very good news if maybe for some reason you want to go to that Stanford game all the way out in California to see our Noles hopefully get that elusive 4th win this weekend. And thankfully, at a lot of our other airports, no delays as well, which is pretty good news if you have some nice travel plans this weekend. But if you're staying in town, looks like a very nice evening to play some pickleball over at Tom Brown. Going to be cooling down to about 68 degrees by 10 o'clock tonight. But if you're staying out for a little bit longer, might want to bring a light jacket with you. Nothing too heavy, but we will be in those low 60s, so might not be a terrible idea to just bundle up just a little bit, nothing too crazy. But if you're going to be walking your dog tomorrow, definitely grab that jacket. At least I would. 59 degrees. Here's Coco, by the way. But at 11 a.m., it's going to warm up to about 75. So honestly, to go around, not too bad of dog walking conditions, but the earlier you go, it's going to be a bit colder. So just keep that in mind. But if you're going to be grilling tomorrow, maybe jumping in the pool, again, very pleasant weather to go around 85 degrees for your pool forecast tomorrow. Now, Saturday looks like a much better day at the beach. Going to be 82, just a few clouds, but Sunday, unfortunately, kind of looks like a washout, especially in the morning. Just keep an eye out for those rip currents. Stay moderate rip current Saturday, and by Sunday, high rip current. So not exactly a great idea to go out into the waters on Sunday. So I would just keep that in the back of my mind. Now, if you find yourself in Stanford, California, as the Seminoles take on the Stanford Cardinal, it's going to be 78 degrees at kickoff. By the way, this is in Pacific time, so just think about that. And, you know, if you thought noon kickoff was bad, how about 10:30 kickoff? Yikes. I mean, what are we doing? First off, we're playing a city that is, or we're playing a school that is probably the furthest away from the Atlantic coast, but that's besides the point. 68 degrees by the end of the game if you're in California. Again, playing another California school here. Fortunately, looks like much of a washout for that soccer game, so I would expect a rain delay. For your weekday forecast, though, we're going to see that cold front begin to push through the area with a little bit of a cool down on the way, and should be a pretty nice start to the morning on Monday and Tuesday. But now we're going to kind of head back to the desk to close out our Friday edition of FSU Weather.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't know if I agree with Stanford being in the Atlantic coast because they are the furthest from the Atlantic coast. Are they on the Pacific coast? Like, are they at the beach?
I don't think they're actually on the Pacific coast, but they're like, the proximity, it's like you're almost right there.
Okay, yeah, so get out.
Yeah, you're like, for some reason you're in the Atlantic Coast Conference, but like, let's be real, like you are on the Pacific coast, which is definitely not the Atlantic coast. So.
I feel like this could get me in trouble, but I feel like the Atlantic coast has become like the Isle of Misfit Toys, kind of. That's just my interpretation of it. I'm sorry if that's not yours. Anyway, I will probably stay up and watch the game, but only because I have nothing to really live for on Sunday anyway. What about you?
I mean, I'm going to be online for probably some of the rides at Halloween Horror Nights, so I think me and my roommate are probably going to have the game open on our phone, but I mean, I'm just hoping, like, can we just please win this week?
Yeah,
either way, it's still go Noles, but
always
really hoping we can pull off that 4th win against a team that I definitely think should not be in our conference.
Yeah, and I think there's no reason why we shouldn't. I believe in us. We have, like, the team spread to be able to do so. It's just attacking it in the first half, honestly. We can't just keep like trying to scrape by in the second half and really tugging at the hearts of the Noles fans.
I mean, if there's anything that keeps you a little bit optimistic, I heard that Coach Norvell is pretty fired up for this game.
Oh yeah, I saw that
Stanford.
on the Barstool. Oh, that almost had me. Oh, we're gonna take it to X. Follow us on X at FSU Weather.
Make sure to like us on Facebook at FSU Weather.
And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at FSU Weather.
And be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, FSU Weather.
And last but not least, TikTok, follow us at FSU Weather.
And here's one last look at your 7-day forecast. Have a nice weekend, everybody.